My controlling boyfriend got me fired by forwarding my confidential work emails to everyone at my company, then proposed while I was devastated. So I accepted the ring and systematically destroyed his life from the inside out. Being Middle Eastern and growing up in Vermont meant everyone had something to call me, whether it was Plane Crasher, Curry Muncher, and Prince Ali. For my entire life, all the way through college, I didn't grow up knowing a single other Middle Eastern person. Except for my mom, she was my best friend. She knew I was getting bullied, so she stopped cooking her favorite meals just so I wouldn't go to school smelling like her food. Not only that, but she made sure to have more American friends so I would grow up around more white American kids so I could pick up their accents. None of these things worked, but I always loved and appreciated what she was doing for me. So when I was 23 and still hadn't had my first kiss, my mom insisted on helping me. She told me there was a nice Arab man she had met who was single and handsome. For those who don't know, in my culture you don't go on dates. Instead, you immediately become engaged and move in together. And until you get married, a parent, in this case my mom, moves in with you to make sure there's no premarital intimacy. And I guess loneliness really does make you do crazy things. Because somehow, in some way, I found myself agreeing. At first, it seemed like a good decision. He'd tuck me in every night and constantly praise me for how beautiful I was. But most importantly, he treated my mom like a queen. It only took 2 days before she approved of him, and the second she did, I realized it was all a facade. One time, I surprised him with a home-cooked dinner when he got home. Ugh, he remarked with a contorted face. Not great, but it's okay. You'll improve when you're a wife. But instead of listening to my gut feeling, I tried harder to win his approval. I started waking up 2 hours early, even on weekdays, to clean the entire house top to bottom. I bought clothes in the color he always said looked nice on me. I even started going to the gym and tried to shed a few pounds, but things never got better. If anything, they got worse. So much so that I finally caved and did the most insane thing I could have ever done. I tried to communicate with Alex. Babe, sometimes I just feel a little underappreciated. Underappreciated? My mom barged into the room. Do you know what your father did the first time I cooked him dinner? He threw his plate across the room because I made him a meal he didn't like. They then started discussing right in front of me about how ungrateful and unappreciative I was. Guilt flooded my body, and in that moment, I genuinely believed I was the worst fiancé to ever exist. But one day, after weeks of attempting to win over Alex's love, he finally admitted something was missing in our relationship. Baby, as we approach marriage, I think it's time for you to quit your job. I stared at him blankly. He knew my career was everything to me, and I guess he noticed my sheepishness because that's when he clarified what he meant. A real wife focuses on home, not chasing useless ambitions. My throat clamped shut. If I knew things would turn out this way, I would have just stayed lonely. The air was thick with unease. That's when I finally spoke. I don't think things are gonna work out between us. Again, I was interrupted, but this time it was by Alex's laughter. A deep belly, earth-shattering roar. No wonder you've been single for so long. No man with options would ever pick you. He was practically rolling on the floor, pointing at me and laughing. I didn't say anything, just silently retreated to my bedroom. The next day, to my surprise, I woke up to breakfast in bed. Alex apologized profusely for how he acted and told me he was going to do better. His words lit up a spark in my stomach, so convincing me to take a few days off work to spend more time with him was a walk in the park. He had created a perfect distraction. Every day we were going on dates that truly felt magical, and I felt like a Disney princess. I guess that's the thing with love bombing. You never realize it's happening until afterwards. At the end of the few days, I wanted to go back to work with a bang, so I organized all my files and made sure everything was perfectly set up for me to impress everyone. But that didn't happen. It started with my key card not working at the door. Shock flooded my system, but I tried to console myself as security walked me up the stairs. There, I was met with Linda, the head of HR, and my boss. I thought they were going to scold me for taking a few days off, but instead, as I sat in the office, they pushed a stack of papers towards me. I flicked through them. My hands were trembling. I thought I was actually going to vomit. Someone had forwarded every confidential email in my inbox to every member of the company, the accounting team, the cleaners, the other paralegals, everyone. I tried to make my case, but they didn't care. And as I walked down the stairs carrying a box of my belongings, rage clawed at my throat. I knew Alex was behind this, but through my anger, I saw clarity. I knew he was just days away from proposing to me, and I knew if I said yes, then I could ruin his life from the inside out. I sat in my car outside the office building, hands still shaking as I gripped the steering wheel. The box of my belongings sat in the passenger seat, mocking me with its finality. My phone buzzed. Alex. I stared at his message asking if I wanted to meet for dinner to talk about my stressful day at work. The irony wasn't lost on me. I screenshot his text, capturing his fake concern, then typed back a simple yes. My phone rang immediately. Alex's voice dripped with honeyed sympathy, but I caught something else in the background, the distinct sound of glasses clinking in muffled celebration. My jaw clenched as I forced warmth into my voice, playing the devastated fiancé perfectly. The restaurant Alex chose was upscale, the kind of place that required reservations weeks in advance. He must have planned this. As we sat across from each other, he reached into his jacket pocket. My heart hammered as he pulled out a small velvet box. The ring sparkled under the dim lighting as he opened it. I forced my lips into a smile while my hand moved under the table, pressing record on my phone. He launched into a speech about our future together, and then, as if he couldn't help himself, he mentioned how he'd helped me see I didn't need that job anyway. I accepted the ring with trembling hands. The waitress who refilled our water glasses noticed and gave me a concerned look. I avoided her gaze, sliding the ring onto my finger while bile rose in my throat. Mom's face filled my phone screen during our FaceTime call later that evening. Her joy was infectious as she gushed about the engagement, already rattling off wedding venue ideas and guest lists. Alex stood behind me, his hand squeezing my shoulder possessively as we shared the news. Then Mom said something that made my blood run cold. She mentioned giving Alex my work login information last week because he'd wanted to plan a surprise vacation for us. The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. This was how he'd accessed my emails. My phone vibrated with a text from Priya, my former colleague. I excused myself to the bathroom to read it. The message was brief but devastating. Security footage showed someone using my badge to enter the building at 3 a.m. last Tuesday. I'd been asleep next to Alex at that exact time. Back at the table, I weighed my options. Confrontation would give him time to cover his tracks. Instead, I asked casually about his late night walk from Tuesday, mentioning I'd woken up and noticed he was gone. His pupils dilated with surprise before he smoothly explained he'd needed fresh air. Classic tells of a liar. Later, while Alex showered, I noticed his jacket draped over a chair. My hands moved quickly, searching the pockets. My fingers found folded papers, printouts of my work emails with sections highlighted in yellow, proprietary information, client details, confidential correspondence, evidence of his sabotage. The bathroom door opened. I shoved the papers back, grabbing a pack of gum from the side pocket just as Alex emerged. He caught me with my hand in his jacket. For a split second, I saw something dangerous flash in his eyes before his face transformed into a smile. His fist clenched involuntarily at his side. The next morning, Alex posted our engagement announcement on social media. He tagged my entire extended family, his professional network, everyone. The congratulations poured in while I sat there, trapped by the public declaration. My cousin Layla called within minutes. Her voice carried concern as she mentioned that Alex had messaged her last week, asking detailed questions about my ex-boyfriends. He'd claimed he wanted to avoid their mistakes. The calculating nature of his research chilled me. While Alex was at the gym, I went through his laptop. What I found made my stomach turn. Screenshots of every text message I'd ever sent him, meticulously organized in folders. Evidence contained our conversations about work stress. Leverage held more personal exchanges. A third folder labeled insurance contained photos I didn't remember him taking. Sarah, my best friend, called that afternoon. Alex had reached out to her yesterday, expressing concern about my paranoid behavior regarding work. He was already laying groundwork to discredit me if I tried to expose him. Mom took Alex's side when I tentatively mentioned feeling overwhelmed by the quick engagement. She reminded me how patient he was with my modern ideas about work, and how lucky I was to find someone who accepted me despite being single for so long. Scrolling through old messages, I found something I'd overlooked. Months ago, Alex had texted about being worried when I didn't respond for a few hours. The timestamp showed he'd known exactly where I was, at a job interview I'd never mentioned to anyone. He'd been tracking my location. Alex insisted we needed a joint bank account for wedding planning. He stood over me as I reluctantly provided my banking passwords, his eyes daring me to refuse. The control was tightening like a noose. I called my former boss, hoping for a reference for new positions. His response was curt. Legal had advised against any contact after the email incident. Through the window, I saw Alex smirking as I hung up. My aunt dismissed my concerns when I hinted at relationship doubts. Alex had already spoken to her about my anxiety issues and suggested therapy might help. He'd even recommended a specific therapist, his friend from college. That night, I created a fake email account account and searched social media for any trace of Alex's past relationships. Deep in his tagged photos from years ago, I found her, an ex-fiancée named Catherine. I sent her a carefully worded message. Catherine's response came at 3 a.m. Get out now. Check your car for trackers. He destroyed my nursing career the same way. She'd attached a screenshot of an email incident identical to mine. Confidential patient information forwarded to her entire hospital. At family dinner that weekend, my uncle made an offhand comment about Alex knowing my shellfish allergy before anyone had told him. I'd never mentioned it to Alex. The pattern was becoming clear. He'd been gathering information about me for months before we'd accidentally met. His younger sister Miriam pulled me aside during wedding planning at their parents' house. She spoke carefully, saying she loved her brother, but I should be careful. His last fiancé had said things before leaving town suddenly. I told Miriam I was happy while slipping her a note asking to talk privately. She nodded almost imperceptibly. Alex watched from the doorway. As Miriam tried to leave, Alex intercepted her. I couldn't hear their conversation, but his words about family loyalty carried across the room. Miriam avoided my eyes for the rest of the visit. Sarah called me later, confused. She'd been comparing notes with our friend Janet. Alex had told Sarah I was homesick last Tuesday, but told Janet I was visiting family. His lies were starting to unravel, but I needed more evidence before making my move. Alex suggested I take a break from my friends during wedding planning. He forwarded multiple venue options, all requiring immediate deposits and booking at least 6 months in advance. The pressure felt calculated, designed to trap me in commitment. I recognized the isolation tactic from abuse survivor forums I'd been secretly reading at the library. The patterns were textbook. Separate the victim from support systems, create financial entanglement, establish control through seemingly reasonable requests. Priya's husband Dev worked in IT security. When I met him at a coffee shop, he confirmed what I'd suspected. My work credentials had been used to access the system, but the IP address traced directly to Alex's apartment building. The digital forensics proved definitively that I hadn't sent those emails. Mom started questioning Alex's stories after I carefully planted seeds of doubt. She mentioned that Alex claimed to have been at mosque last Tuesday morning, but the imam hadn't seen him. Her frown deepened as inconsistencies accumulated. While Alex was at the gym, I photographed pages from his notebook left on the kitchen counter. The detailed notes about my family's finances, immigration dates, and what he labeled pressure points made my skin crawl. He'd been studying us like specimens. The police station visit proved fruitless. The desk sergeant dismissed the email forwarding as a civil matter between former employees. I noticed his nameplate. He'd been Alex's college roommate. Another door closing. Sarah and Priya began meeting at a small coffee shop, using burner phones to coordinate. The barista, sensing something serious, offered them the back room for privacy. My support network was forming in shadows. I discovered white residue in my tea mug one morning. A test kit from the pharmacy confirmed my suspicion. Sleeping med residue. Alex had been drugging me. The drowsiness I'd attributed to stress had been chemically induced. An unexpected message arrived from Alex's former coworker. He'd been fired from their firm for stalking a client's daughter. HR had buried the incident to avoid scandal. The pattern of behavior stretched back years. Instead of confronting Alex about the drugging, I adjusted my strategy. I stopped drinking the tea but pretended to be drowsy on schedule. Alex visibly relaxed, becoming sloppier with his surveillance. The wedding timeline suddenly accelerated. Alex claimed Mom had health concerns requiring us to marry in 3 weeks instead of 6 months. Mom seemed perfectly healthy, but Alex insisted we couldn't risk waiting. Miriam slipped a confession letter under my windshield wiper. Her handwriting shook as she revealed Alex had threatened her scholarship if she spoke out. But what he'd done to someone named Layla was worse. She'd been forced to leave the state entirely. During wedding dress shopping, Mom criticized Alex's venue choice. His mask slipped momentarily, and his sharp response made Mom step back. The saleswoman noticed the tension, busying herself with unnecessary adjustments. Alex offered what he considered a compromise. If I abandoned my revenge fantasies, he'd allow me to work part-time after marriage. I pretended to consider his generous offer while rage boiled beneath my calm exterior. His mother pulled me aside during a family gathering. She confided her relief that Alex had found me after what happened with that poor girl in Michigan. Her words confirmed a pattern spanning multiple states. The timeline crystallized as I pieced together evidence. Alex had been planning this for 8 months. Since seeing my LinkedIn profile through an industry connection, I fit his preferred victim profile perfectly. Isolated, ethnic, professionally ambitious. His control was starting to crack. Friends grew uncomfortable with his intensity. Even his parents seemed unsettled by his possessive behavior, though they still defended him publicly. Through Miriam, I found Layla's contact information. She agreed to a video call, wanting to help prevent another woman from experiencing her nightmare. During our conversation, she revealed permanent nerve damage from a stress-induced condition caused by Alex's torment. Sarah risked her own relationship to help me. Her boyfriend thought she was being paranoid about Alex, but she chose our friendship over his comfort. We spent late nights strategizing, bound by shared fear of Alex's retaliation. Despite my rage, I maintained the facade perfectly. I let Alex choose our honeymoon destination while secretly documenting every controlling behavior, every threatening gesture, every lie he told. During an argument about the guest list, I calmly stated facts about his contradictions. Alex didn't realize I was recording as he frantically tried to keep his lies straight. His carefully constructed story was unraveling. Dev's ethical hacking skills proved invaluable. He recovered deleted files from Alex's cloud backup. Years of stalking documentation on multiple women. The scope of his predatory behavior was staggering. Alex's gym buddy Jake started distancing himself after witnessing Alex's violent reaction to a perceived slight. Even casual acquaintances were recognizing the anger issues Alex could no longer fully conceal. Wedding vendors began mentioning Alex's aggressive negotiation tactics. The floors whispered that in 20 years of business, she'd never encountered someone so controlling. The pattern was becoming visible even to strangers. I mobilized my growing network carefully. Each friend gathered specific evidence while maintaining the appearance of normal pre-wedding activities. We communicated through coded messages about flower arrangements and catering choices. Testing Alex's reactions, I mentioned that someone at the dress fitting had asked about Michigan. His face went white before he recovered, laughing about how people always confused state names. His fear was palpable. Priya's influence in the industry helped me secure freelance work. My skills spoke for themselves, and that first paycheck in months felt like reclaiming a piece of my identity. Small victories mattered. Alex's options were narrowing as my support network quietly documented his every move. He didn't realize how many people were now watching, recording, gathering evidence of his abuse. Layla revealed the darkest truth yet. Alex had drugged her with something stronger than sleeping pills. She'd woken up in a hospital with Alex claiming she'd attempted sewer slide. His methods were escalating with each victim. I began ensuring Mom took separate transportation to appointments, reducing Alex's access to her. She started noticing my precautions, though I maintained the wedding planning facade perfectly. Sarah, Priya, Dev, and surprisingly, my uncle began coordinating response plans. They used coded language in a group chat ostensibly about wedding preparations. The network was strengthening. Alex's attempts to isolate me from specific supporters failed. We maintained contact through book clubs, gym classes, grocery store encounters. Every attempt to control met subtle resistance. Mom finally saw the truth when she walked in on Alex berating me for speaking to a male cashier. The venom in his voice shocked her. Through tears, she whispered that this wasn't love. The spell was breaking. Former colleagues quietly spread word about my innocence in the email scandal. LinkedIn messages of support arrived daily. My professional reputation was slowly being restored through whisper networks. Security footage from multiple locations showed Alex's stalking behavior over months. The pattern was undeniable when compiled, following me to interviews, watching my apartment, tracking my movements. With the wedding 5 days away, I faced a crucial decision. Should I expose Alex publicly or continue with my plan to destroy him slowly? Layla's text message urged me not to wait as she had. Alex's bachelor party became his undoing. He bragged to his friends about training me properly. His brother, appalled by the conversation, recorded it secretly. Even family members were turning against him. The stakes crystallized starkly. My physical safety was now at risk, but complete destruction of Alex's ability to harm others required staying the course. No middle ground existed. When Alex tried to provoke an emotional reaction, I responded with calm documentation. I mentioned that security footage showed a different version of events. His realization that I'd been playing him was visible in his widening eyes. His family started questioning the timeline after Mom mentioned Alex had known details about me before our supposed first meeting. The carefully constructed narrative was crumbling from multiple angles. Truth spread through personal networks faster than Alex could control. His professional reputation deteriorated as colleagues heard whispers about his behavior. The whisper network proved more powerful than his lies. The wedding venue called about Alex's credit card being declined for the deposit. My investigation revealed he'd been living far beyond his means, maintaining an illusion of success through increasing debt. Alex made a desperate play, threatening to release intimate photos he'd secretly taken. His confidence evaporated evaporated when I showed him the camera detecting app on my phone. I'd known about every hidden device and had already removed the memory cards. His employer placed him on administrative leave after multiple concerning reports from clients who knew my family. The professional consequences were materializing faster than he'd anticipated. Mom, Sarah, and Priya formed a protective circle around me. My uncle offered his family lawyer services, stating this had moved beyond tradition into safety concerns. The support felt overwhelming after months of isolation. Unexpected support came from Alex's mother. She arrived at our apartment with a box of documentation, tears streaming down her face. She'd failed other girls by staying quiet, but refused to enable her son any longer. Armed with evidence from multiple sources, I presented Alex with an ultimatum. He could disappear from our lives completely, or everything would go public. His hands shook as he read through the compiled files. Alex appeared to capitulate, signing an agreement to stay away. He returned my belongings and work materials he'd hidden. For a moment, it seemed like victory was within reach. Layla agreed to speak directly to Alex's family. Her testimony over video call devastated them. The pattern became undeniable when the victim had a face and voice. Nev. His mother wept openly while his father sat in stunned silence, finally understanding the monster they'd enabled. My documentation proved Alex had committed identity theft and fraud. Criminal charges were now possible, but I held back, keeping that nuclear option in reserve. The power reversal felt complete. He controlled every aspect of my life, and now I controlled his future. I assembled the final evidence package with every recording, screenshot, and witness statement. Sarah helped organize it chronologically while Priya created backup copies. Dev ensured everything was stored securely across multiple platforms. The preparation felt like loading ammunition. A family gathering was arranged where everyone acknowledged Alex's deception. Mom apologized repeatedly for not believing me sooner, while relatives expressed shame for enabling him. My uncle admitted he should have questioned Alex's sudden interest in our family months ago. At 3 a.m., Alex snapped. He showed up at my apartment, pounding on the door and demanding I recant everything. His screams echoed through the hallway as neighbors peered through peepholes. I recorded everything from inside while calling 911. The restraining order attempt failed spectacularly. The judge, who turned out to be Alex's family friend from their mosque, claimed the threatening texts weren't specific enough despite their clear menace. The legal system's bias felt like another betrayal. Some relatives began wavering in their support. My aunt suggested we should just let it go and move forward, fearing scandal more than seeking justice. Even Mom wondered if we should just be grateful I was safe now. The isolation was returning. I faced a stark decision: release everything publicly and face backlash, or accept partial victory and risk Alex hurting others. Sarah sat with me as I weighed options, her presence the only thing keeping me grounded. I chose scorched earth. Working through the night, I created a website documenting everything, every piece of evidence, every recording, every witness statement. At 6 a.m., I sent the link simultaneously to his employer, extended family, and entire professional network. The response was immediate and explosive. Alex's employer terminated him within hours. His professional licensing board opened an investigation. Former victims began reaching out, finding courage in my exposure of his methods. Alex arrived at my new workplace, a position Priya had helped me secure. Security had been alerted, but he sweet-talked past them, claiming to be delivering wedding-related documents. The final showdown happened in broad daylight. In the conference room, Alex alternated between threats and pleading. He insisted we were alike, both outsiders who understood each other. I kept my phone hidden, live streaming his breakdown to Sarah, who was recording everything. His mask finally slipped completely. He revealed his targeting strategy. Isolated ethnic girls made perfect victims because no one believed them over charming American-raised men. His confession validated every suspicion I'd harbored. Miriam arrived with their parents and, surprisingly, Layla in person. The coordinated intervention had been planned without my knowledge. His family was done enabling him, ready to face the consequences of their years of willful blindness. I faced another choice: press criminal charges and endure a brutal legal process, or accept his family's promise to get him help. The criminal justice system had already failed me once. I chose a modified approach. I filed a civil suit for damages while his family committed him for psychiatric evaluation. The compromise avoided the criminal system while ensuring real consequences. His breakdown accelerated as he realized his family had turned against him. Alex's meltdown was spectacular. He admitted to everything while blaming everyone else. Me for being too ambitious, his mother for raising him poorly, society for forcing him to take extreme measures. Multiple phones recorded his rambling confession. Security removed Alex as he screamed about betrayal. His parents wept openly, finally seeing clearly the monster they'd created through years of excuses and enabling. The reckoning was complete. His final manipulation attempt, a sewer slide threat, was met with professional crisis intervention instead of my compliance. His family had learned not to give in to his emotional terrorism. The psychiatric hold was extended.